guys, my name is Lou, and these are my books. Today we're going to be talking about characters that I absolutely fucking adore. Okay, so I made a video kind of like this a couple of months ago where I talked about characters that I fucking hate. But now I want to bring some positivity into this because I just want to gush about characters that I love as, like, people, even though they're technically not people. But you know what? In my delulu little mind, I will consider them people. Sue me. Okay, so I have 6 different characters I want to go through with you today, so allow us to get started. The first one we are going to be talking about is Aelin Ash River Galathinius Whitethorn, aka fire-breathing bitch queen herself from Throne of Glass, Celaena Sardathian, whatever you want to fucking call her. Because but regardless, she is a queen. She's an empress. We adore her. Honestly, the reason I love her character so much is literally just because of the transition she goes through within all of these books. Granted, I have not finished them yet. She goes through a very normative transformation throughout pretty much all of her life. She starts off as this young princess who doesn't really know what she's doing, what her purpose is really. She's just kind of like going through the motions and like going along with what her parents want from her. And when she starts expressing her opinions, they're like, we'll talk about it later, but it never happens, you know? And so she just kind of goes through that. She's scared and terrified of the magic that is brewing within her because it's something no one else knows what to do with. And like literally the only person who can control her is her mom, because her mom has a water affinity and her dad is just like, fuck! I wish I could help you, but he can't because no one else has had her gift before. And then she transitions into this very troubled teenager because, you know, spoilers. If you haven't read Throne of Glass yet, spoilers, her parents are dead. She literally sleeps beside her parents' dead bodies, gets washed up in a river, and ends up with Arobynn Hamel, and is training to be an assassin from that point forward. And she grows up with Arobynn Hamel, who is, I'm very certain, almost kind of a pedophile. Like, I haven't read Queen of Shadows in a little bit, but I remember Arobynn being so fucking creepy. And even though she's technically an adult, it still doesn't make any sense considering he raised her. It's gross and I hate it. Anyways, let's go forward. And then when she meets, the royal crew, Dorian and Kale, she starts seeing what the world could be and everything. And then another normal transformation because Nehemia dies and she blames Kale. And Kale gets his own little bitch boy transformation. And Celaena, she just goes right back into that dark place she was when she was with Arobynn. And it's just a whole freaking mess, honestly. And then she meets Rowan Whitethorn, and Rowan Whitethorn literally beats her into submission. It is not funny. It is, because they end up being so cute together, even though they are technically cousins. It's like, it's very distant, so like that's why the entire fandom has practically ignored that. But you know, the thing is, this old man literally whipped her into shape, and it was so good. And finally, Celaena was able to overcome her demons and all of that, and like come back into like who she was meant to be and all of that, and like not live with any of that guilt anymore. And then she goes back to Ardalan, and she has to reface all of this, especially when Kale decides to be a little bitch boy. Anyways, but Celaena's transformation is so normative that I admire it, honestly. Girlie went through the ringer. She went through the whole entire ringer to get to the point of where she is right now. But honestly, I wouldn't have her any other way. And throughout it all, she kept her snarky personality. And I love that about her so much. I'm always a big fan of like the snarky characters, but literally Celaena having the tongue that she does amazing. Having the skills that she does and using them as she sees fit, amazing. And then her having this ancient legendary Fae warrior by her side who is absolutely fucking whipped for her. A tier. S tier, actually. Amazing. Next character we're going to be talking about is Kaz Brekker from Six of Crows. We already know that I adore Kaz Brekker with all of my heart. Kaz Brekker is literally one of the best characters I have ever read about, in my opinion. I wish we got a book just about him. I want to see what he does with his life. Honestly, the bastard of the barrel, dirty hands, this fucking man. I have no other words other than to say this man is the greatest morally gray character I've ever seen. Okay? And all of you who want to start talking about how characters, about your own morally gray men and whatnot, no.
Nope, stop talking, go to jail.
No. The morally gray men you're talking about are murderers who are whipped for one particular woman. Kaz Brekker has a vengeance that he needs to see through no matter what. He doesn't care about consequences, but he has people that he likes. That is the difference. Kaz Brekker, he has morals, but his morals are in a very specific kind of, like, you don't know if he's really fucked up or not. Right? Whereas the morally gray men of now, like, they're fucked up, but they're hot, so it's okay. But here's the thing about Kaz Brekker. Kaz Brekker, you know he's fucked up. You just don't know how fucked up he is. Yeah. And there's a reason he's so fucked up. It's a good reason. Does that make any of what he's doing right? No. Most people wouldn't just, start running a gang or have a literal blood feud with a man who doesn't even remember your name. No, but Kaz Brekker has his own morals. He has a love for his team that he never really expresses, but he wants to protect them. And you don't know exactly what it is that this man is going to do or has done. You'll never know. You will never fucking know, because that's just the kind of morally gray this man is. He's literally the woman who knows him the best, because she's been with him the longest, at least at this stage in his life, as he was the bastard of the barrel. She literally has to ask him once, did you bury that child alive? And he goes, no. And she's like, are you sure? Like, she has to be sure, because she's not really sure what he is and is not willing to do. And to be completely fair, neither am I. But I think that's the point of him. And I love him for it. He's a great character for it. I love the way Kaz is portrayed. Like, he's not a good person, but he's also not a bad person. Do you know what I mean? And he's so smart. So fucking smart, this man is. Like, quite literally, this man is literally, like, coming up with plans to trick people in and out of everything. Absolutely. Just a thing. How does one say this? How does one say this? Kaz, for the circumstances that he was placed in, for the world that he lives in, it will never be as bad as the people he goes against. And the reason I say that is because this man has A, a moral code, and B, people he actually trusts. But the thing is, what's funny is that you don't know if you can trust Kaz. And that's why I love him. I just love the way he's portrayed. I love the way he just kind of does everything, because you don't really know what this man's thinking. And that's what's scary about him. But also, he's also the funniest motherfucker. Like, I love Kaz so much as a character. I honestly, Like, I honestly love the fact that he stays single pretty much. Like, I don't want him with Inej. Like, that's gonna be controversial, but I don't want him with Inej simply because I don't want him to lose his Kazbreakerness. Like, I enjoy their relationship, but I think they should stay friends. They should not be in a relationship. They shouldn't be procreating. Next, we're gonna be talking about Cardan from the Cruel Prince series. So, I'm gonna say it like this. I didn't like Jude very much. That's putting it mildly. I didn't like Jude very much. I hated Taryn, right? I hated Vivi. Heather Supremacy, my fucking God. I loved Matic, actually. I loved Matic just because this man, like, you just kind of needed him. I loved Matic. I loved his attitude. I loved all of that. But Cardan in particular, he was one of those characters where I didn't like him at the beginning. But as we learned more about him, as we got more of his story, and then especially in How the King of Elfham Learned to Hate Stories, I really came to understand him a lot more. And I honestly like him as a character. I like what he becomes at the very least. And I really do enjoy the fact that Cardan is such a complicated person. Because think about it like this. Cardan is, basically abused for his entire childhood. He grows up with one of his most brutal siblings. He's essentially treated as like a scourge to the royal family, even though he is a royal. And then he sees like these humans that are always seen as below the Fae, being treated better than he is. And he's like, what the hell? And like, I'd be like, what the hell too? Because that's jarring. That's different. And it doesn't justify the amount of shit he puts Jude and Taryn through. But I see why he did so. And the fact that he just kind of becomes whipped for Jude doesn't really make a lot of sense considering their relationship. But also the fact that he's essentially obsessed with her to the point of insanity is also kind of attractive. But also, I just love Cardan as a person because he's snarky, he's snippy, and he's also very, 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 he's also like, he also tries to make things as hard as possible for Jude, like in both The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King. It's hilarious. Hilarious. I love it. I love it so much. Next character we're going to be talking about, Sam from The Mortal Instruments. Okay, so they did Sam so fucking dirty. I'm going to start with that. Okay, so first off, let's talk about him. Sam from the Mortal Instruments series. Sam, I was about to say call him Sam Cortland, but no, that is a completely different character. But Sam from the Mortal Instruments, he is a certain amount of like unwilling that I will never get over. And he was my favorite character in the Mortal Instruments simply because he was just dealing with this shit as it came. And he was the most realistic out of everything. Because the way Clary deals with it is fucking ridiculous. Because I could never in my life think, oh, this is okay, and then fall in love with a fucking demon hunter for no reason in particular at all. And then Sam, the way Sam deals with it is he becomes a vampire, right? He has to deal with the fact that he's now no longer human. And he's like, what on God's green earth? What the fuck?
What the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell is wrong with you?
Right? Because what else do you say when you've become a completely different species? You don't just like go along with it. You don't just go with the flow. No! Sam was the most realistic character in the Mortal Instruments, and that's why I liked him so much. I also kind of liked Izzy, but that's only because of this one line, and it's like, why can't I chop him into bastard-themed confetti? That's literally the only reason why I like Izzy. Yeah, I honestly don't really remember much about anybody, but I do remember Sam, and I do remember relating so much to Sam, because I was like, what the fuck? None of this is normal, and Sam was the only one pointing it out. Next character. Well, characters. These are a set of 3. Tessa, Jem, and Will from the Infernal Devices trilogy. When I tell you I love these characters with all my heart and soul, I mean it. I will hear no criticism. Nothing. I will hear nothing against any of these characters. And the reason I love them so much is because Tessa is so, again, she's kind of going with the flow at this point. But then again, it kind of makes a lot more sense for her because she got kidnapped by literal demons, I think they were. I forget what the sisters were. Anyways, she's she had to come to the terms with the fact that she has magic and is now being abused to attempt to learn it and whatnot. And then she gets saved by shadow hunters, and she's just like, fucking okay. Because at this point in her life, a lot of things have gone down that she's not very used to. So it's like, so she's like, all of this is weird. Why would demon hunting half angels be the line I refuse to cross? Right? Which makes sense. But I love Tessa because she's just so gentle with everything. Like, she's not an aggressive person. She's not, like, overly meek either. She's essentially, like, the perfect kind of, like, middle ground of a character. Like, she's not the aggressive superheroine that we're used to seeing, and she's not the overly meek damsel in distress. She's just kind of like this middle ground. Because she has her girly tendencies. She's feminine. She loves to read. She loves to be inside. But she's also willing to put her life on the line. She's also willing to help the shadow hunters investigate everything. And it's just so amazing to see her do this. The reason I love Will, and he was kind of fucked up in the first book. I will say that. His ending statement in the first book was really fucked up. But I understand. Don't condone it, though. Okay? I adore Will simply because he was just, like, his development from, like, overconfident, like, swagger bad boy to soft and gentle and sweet, innocent little being was just so good. It was so good. It was so good. His transition was so good. And the thing is, the only reason we had that transition was because of Jem. And the reason I love Jem is because Jem was the little soft-spoken little bean that I wanted and needed in this story. He was so sweet. He was so sweet. And then his little, like, violin. And then he was so good with Tessa, too. And then the relationship between Will and Jem was so good. The only reason we got the Will development is because we had Jem there. Because Jem was the only person Will cared deeply enough about to be truthful with. And I loved that. I absolutely adored it. They were so good. All 3 of these characters were so freaking good, and I wanted more. But I like where they capped the story enough. And the way it ended. I need to stop. And then the last character we're going to be talking about is Addie from The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So. We all know that Addie LaRue is my favorite book of all time. Right. We already know this. I love Addie for the simple fact that she literally just kind of, like, makes the best of her situation. And then when any curveball is thrown at her, she just kind of runs with it. Like, let me put it this way. Addie is the kind of person who, like, she grows very mature over this time period with experiences that not a lot of people would ever experience. Anyone actually would ever experience. And she knows that her circumstance is very unique, right? Unique to her. And she has had to put herself in very uncomfortable, demeaning, degrading positions to really survive up until the present point in this book. She's literally had to prostitute herself. Like, that's not something easy that you have to come to terms with. That's not easy at all. She had to deal with the fact that she could not make connections with people when humans are typically social creatures. She had to absolutely deal with the fact that that she didn't really know what her purpose was anymore. Because essentially the reason she made the deal with Luke in the first place was because she wanted like more time to figure that out. But now that she has all of this time, she doesn't know what she can do because there's nothing for her to do, really. It's honestly freaking wild. And honestly, I love Addie for the fact that she just kind of like doesn't become the most bitter and resentful person because of it. She essentially just kind of is like, okay, all right, this is shitty. This is a shitty situation, but I did it to myself. Now we need to deal with it, right? And that's why I love Addie. She doesn't blame anybody else. She doesn't blame Luke for it. She actually like kind of fell in love with him for like kind of a little bit of it. And like, but she essentially just is like, all right, this is where we are. These are the cards I've been dealt. Let's deal with it. And she just goes through with each century, with each decade. And she's just moving along one day at a time. And I really admire her for that. I really do. It's just, I love Addie and I love her story so much. I can't within me like find anything bad to say about Addie or Luke, really, because Luke is like is one of the morally great characters we know nothing about, and this man, he's just kind of doing what he knows best, which is making deals. He's kind of like Rumpelstiltskin. But anyways, guys, that brings this video to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like button. If you want to see more of my content, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified every time I post a new video. I post weekly on this channel, so don't miss out. Also, leave me comments down below what you want to see from me, books I need to put on my TBR, books I should up my TBR. Say hi in the comments or tell me what you're reading. I always get really excited when I see your guys' comics. It's so happy and appreciate it. Anyways, guys, I love my Lumas. Bye!